Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So if you saw this week's feature match, you know what's coming up. We are doing Cherubimon. This is a Cherubimon Lucemon hybrid build, but at the end I will give you a few alternatives because the Lucemons are going to be extremely expensive, and if you want a little bit more budget friendly but still want to play Cherubimon, I do have some alternatives, so definitely stay tuned at the end for that. Don't forget, our memory marker for the month of February is going to be the Armor Egg of Friendship here. This thing is handmade out of clay by my wife. Super awesome. So if you're looking forward to some armor digivolving or the Imperialdramon deck with that Cherubimon, this is going to be a perfect, absolutely perfect memory marker for those decks. So definitely get your hands on one of these now so that way you're ready when those come out. Now, if you want any of our previous memory markers we've had on the channel, check the coffee link in the description below. There you can get access to all the previous memory markers we've had on the channel. The benefit, though, if you go through Patreon for the featured memory marker of the month, usually you can get it for a better deal while it's being featured. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this. I will say this is a very tricky deck to build. Finding that balance between the hybrids as well as the Nidhogmons and Cherubimons is very difficult. Honestly, it is extremely difficult, and we'll get into why as we go. So we'll go ahead and jump in here. We are running the Untitled Scatter Mode and Scatter Mode package simply because they're incredible. They're like the best thing you can fit into purple right now going into the BT7 format. Remember, Digimon doesn't get limited to one until BT8 pre-release, so we get a full couple months with Digimon at full power. So just because it's on the list eventually doesn't mean we can't play it now for a couple months. So first up, we got Digimon. It is the best card to combo with Digimon. So ideally, the only level 4 that you will typically evolve into besides a hybrid, the only one that actually goes on top of rookies is going to be Scatter Mode. So a lot of the rookies that we pick is stuff that really combos great with that. So Digimon going to be our draw one, discard one. Then our first rookie is Gabumon. This is the primo rookie that you want to start with Scatter Mode. So Gabumon for that draw 2, trash 1, on deletion, inheritable. And then of course we'll go to a Scatter Mode in a minute. So this is like our opening combo, like ideal setup is these two guys. But we do have 3 Digimon. Memory blockers are still just as powerful as ever, if not more so. So all the reasons we've discussed in the past about, especially about blue, Hammer Spark and Ice Wall, all those, you hit those in security, it passes your turn, it feels bad, or even just on your opponent's turn, they can't use any sort of memory boost card, whether that be like Howling or the color memory boost that they've got, depending on the deck. Those are great stops. But moving forward with hybrids, Bokomon is a powerful card. Gain 2 anytime a tamer digivolves into a Digimon. Like, that makes basically all hybrids free evos, free level 4 evos. That's nuts. So memory blockers in every deck that can fit them, very important. So running it at 3, you could argue possibly dropping a Labramon down for 4 because they're going to be that important and that powerful in these matchups. But speaking of Labramon here, this is just a generic on-play rookie. I like to have a couple on-play rookies just as a balancing act when needed. And this is great because it's draw 1, trash 1. So we've got tons of cards in this deck that you want to trash. You want to fill up your trash with certain cards because whether it be tamers, so you can play the tamers for free from your trash, or we've got other cards that have great discard effects that give you benefits that we'll get into. So he just combos great with the overall strategy. He's very simple. He's a very easy include. Next up, we do have the Scatter Mode package, though, at full power here, 4 and 4. So we've got Scatter Mode, which is going to be on deletion, draw 3, trash 2. So you combine that with these two guys here. So you're going to draw 3, trash 2, draw 2, trash 1, then draw 1, trash 1. That is a total of 6 draws. 6 draws. So in addition, you combine that with the Evos. So 6 draws off of the on deletion effects. You got the Gabumon Digivolve draw, and then you got the Scatter Mode draw. That's 8 cards out of your deck for drawing. You have your opening hand of 5. If you're going second, you have an opening hand of 6, basically. That's a huge amount of your deck. That's a huge amount of your deck by like turn 2. Okay, so very, very powerful combinations here. Also, on play costs of 4, not too bad, because you're still going to be able to rack up that, on deletion effect on his own. Still very powerful. And then Eismon, this is going to be the first of our great discard targets. So when you trash this card from your hand, you get to play it for free instantly to the field. Nuts. So you lose a level 4 because of the scatter mode. It dies. Normally you're like, crap, now I've got to re-evo into a whole new stack and start completely over from ground zero, putting my opponent way ahead of me. With Eismon, no, you just get tons of draws, you get fabulous trash setup, and you get a body to replace it. Potentially all 4. If you're discarding 4 cards from your hand in total with that combo, you can potentially put 4 Eismon, 4 level 4s on play by your second turn. Wow, that's incredibly powerful. And it still be your turn, by the way. Like, you can do that, and you still be at whatever memory your opponent puts you at. Very, very powerful. Also does gain 2k for each scatter mode in your trash. So late game, when these come out, they can be pretty beastly. So a potential of plus 8,000. So these guys will be sitting at 13,000 by the end of end game. Yeah, that's a very powerful card. There's a reason this card is getting limited to 1, because it is absolutely a broken card, and we will abuse it until the day it hits to 1. Moving on from there, this is the first time I'm like, I can't decide if this is the way to go. I want to try some hybrids. I like hybrids. They do some really cool things. When we digivolve, we can, they go to the trash. The tamer goes to trash as well, and we can play the tamers for free from trash in this particular deck, so that feels pretty good. I just don't like any of the purple hybrids all that much. So first up, we got Lucemon here. So you can evolve on top of a tamer for 2 evo, and you'll pretty much always want to digivolve this guy onto Koichi, because if this Digimon has hybrid or Koichi in the Digivolution cards, it gains retaliation until the end of your opponent's next turn. That's it, though. I mean, that's all you get. So you get to evolve into this guy for 2 on top of a tamer, and he has retaliation for 1 turn. Like, Devimon has it also as an inheritable, and it stays around. It's not just 1 turn. I don't know. Like, is this card actually good or not? I don't know. And the level 5 is even worse. So, but I do have it in here as a 2 of, just because it does combo nicely with one of our tamers that we have. So time will tell if this card will stick into the deck or not. Next, though, we've got for our first level 5, Untitled. So when digivolving, you may play a purple tamer card with a play cost of 3 or less from your trash without paying its memory cost. Yeah, I mean, 3 or less, so that does limit you on your choices that you can bring out, but 3 or less is still not too bad there. So the idea is to, during all your drawing and discarding, just toss a tamer into trash that Untitled can bring back out. So you can basically get more and more value. So scatter mode dies, you're going to discard an Eismon to get that replacement, and then discard a 3 cost or less tamer, and then digivolve the Untitled here on top of the Eismon and get that tamer right back onto the field for free. So great combo potential here with all of this. Really great stuff. So fill up your trash and play free tamers. Absolutely wonderful. Next, we've got our Lucemon package here. And my ratios are a little different from other people's. I would say I'm going a little bit lighter on it. I don't think it's quite needed to just go like completely ham and fill up with all these Lucemons. They are still extremely expensive, like play cost wise, and you can brick on them if you're not careful. If you open up too many of these early game, it's really bad, because you cannot play them early game. So your Lucemon can digivolve into this card in your hand for a memory cost of 7, ignoring this card's digivolution requirements. For every 10 cards in your trash, reduce the memory cost when playing this card from your hand by 3. So typically with all that discarding we do, we can get 10 cards in trash pretty early. That still puts this guy at an 11 play cost, which is absurd. Like, that is a massive play cost. 11 play cost for a delete a tamer or Digimon. a level 6 or lower Digimon. I want to point that out. Level 6 or lower. So if they have any sort of level 7, he can't touch it. And could you imagine playing 11 cost Digimon or an 11 cost card and it can't delete a level 7? Yikes. You definitely don't want to just hard play this. You got to use the option, which we do have in the deck. We will get there. But I do like just having the Lucemon, the level 3 here. I think it does combo pretty nicely in the deck. So while you have 10 or more cards in your trash, the play cost is reduced by 8, making it a 5 play cost. That's completely reasonable. A 5 play cost, recovery 1. Perfect. Works really great with all the discarding we do to play this guy super cheap. And then if we do hard play him, we can then digivolve our chaos mode on top of him. So for a 7 cost, cheaper than playing the option card to get him onto field. I just want to point that out. So it is an alternative. It's not like a main core strategy or anything. It's just one of the many strategies that we can do. And I'll get into why. So that comes up with Cherubimon here. So when digivolving, you may play 1 purple tamer card from your trash without paying its memory cost. No memory cost stipulation on this one. If it's a 4 cost, you can still do it with Cherubimon. Only the Untitled has a limit on 3 play cost or less. Then for each tamer you have in play, delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. So hybrids, this deck just murders hybrids. All those level 4 hybrids, you can just wipe off the field. So you're getting a guaranteed 1, basically. You're going to play a tamer for free from trash. That's going to give you 1 pop. And in a deck where we're playing a lot of tamers, because we can discard them and play them for free, you're going to see a whole lot of value out of Cherubimon for sure. So for multiple pops. Also, this on deletion effect is absolutely crazy. For each tamer you have in play, you may play 1 level 3 Digimon card from your trash without paying its memory cost. Level 3, that's all it says. Level 3 Digimon. No color restriction, no play cost restriction, no nothing. So if you discard a Lucemon, say, early game, and then go into a Cherubimon, you can bring this Lucemon back for free off of the Cherubimon. So it actually combos great. So you can bring out the Cherubimon, bring out a free Lucemon, get some nice recovery, right? Because you get their on-play effects. It doesn't say no on-play effects. You get the recovery there. And then that gives you a target. If you have a Lucemon Chaos Mode in hand, you can go Chaos Mode on top of the Lucemon. So great combo potential. Now, we're not going like super ham on this Lucemon combo. It's just, it's there for if we need it and we can do it, awesome. If we don't, there's still plenty of other plays we can do. We're not limiting ourselves to one big super combo that you can brick on. So just got to play that balancing act. I know a lot of people really wanted to go like super hard on this Lucemon package, but I feel like you're going to brick too hard if you go too heavy on it. So going a little lighter on it and then playing your other strategy as your primary strategy and then just doing this one when it comes up, I think is going to be the better alternative to go into here. Moving on, we got Nidhogmon as our secondary level 6. For the most part, you'll never digivolve into this guy unless it's just like an absolute emergency. Say you're at 3 memory, you don't have any Cherubimon in hand or anything like that. You got your level 5. You need to evo into this, delete an opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon, so like clear a blocker or a hybrid before it's like pushing for game. It's a nice little balance of a secondary mega. If we need to digivolve into it, okay, we can do it. It's got a decent when digivolving effect that can be pretty beneficial, and we can still swing with it. 3 memory cost isn't it big, as long as you got a memory fixer on field, not too difficult to go into it. But really, we like it for its when you trash this card, you can gain 1 memory. So all those early combos we were talking about with the drawing and discarding, he works great for that. If you don't have the Eismon in hand, or you've already discarded it, because you get 4 discards. Okay, a Tamer, an Eismon, a Nidhogmon, another Eismon. That's like tons of targets that are actually really good for the deck and gaining you some memory. So mostly just here for the discard, but can also work as a mega in a pinch for actually digivolving into. All right, next up is like super flex spot area. I went with Glaive Memory Boost. Just return 1 purple Digimon from your trash to your hand, and then delay 2. That's great. Delay 2 is always good. Anytime we can get any kind of memory boost card, usually in every color, they're pretty beneficial. But also returning something like all those discards, any Eismons, adding back some Eismons for more discard, Nidhogg for more discard. Scatter modes, if you just need more draws, grab back a scatter mode and then, get it on field again and crash it some more, get more draws. Glaive's just a really good all-around card, I would say, for that whole strategy. So pretty cool. Works really well. Next we got Schwarz-Lurhersatz. I still can't say that word. We got the new purple option Swartz here. 6 play cost for removal, always good. For each Digimon with hybrid in its traits and tamer you have in play, so both added together. Delete one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. If you've seen matches with this so far, we've seen it every single game so far where a purple is playing this, or even that yellow-purple deck that I showcased before. This card has put in an extreme amount of work. I think this is the best card basically in all of BT7. I think it's the most powerful card and impactful card because you can just do crazy board wipes. People are really stuck on level 5s in this set. If you get a level 5 on field, boom, done, you win. That's it. You don't need to go any further. I'm very much an advocate of going into megas currently, but man, all those decks that people just stop at level 5s on those level 5 hybrids because they're that 1 cost Evo and they just sit on those, this card punishes those players so hard. Just massive board clears every time this hits. Hits in security, activate the effect. Awesome, perfect. Everything you could ever wish for in a removal option card. Love it. So we're playing it at a 3 of. I sit there before I hit record debating bumping it up to 4 because it's that good. It is that good. I promise you. And then next we got the Ultimate Sacrifice. This is just a play cost of 8, and then you get to bring out your Lucemon. So play 1 purple level 5 Digimon card from your trash without paying its memory cost. So you can play other things as well. Pretty much you're always aiming to play Lucemon off of this though. If you have 10 or more cards in your trash, you can play one Digimon card with Lucemon in its name without paying its memory cost instead. Basically what that means is from your hand. It doesn't say from your hand, but that's ideally like what the purpose of this is. So if you got the 10 cards in trash, you can, and like say you want to play this or it hits in security because it's activate the main effect, you can play that Lucemon from hand, and that's really, really powerful. And it's going to be either, you could do the recovery one if need be. So it gives you multiple targets to play off of this. So this is your ideal way to get chaos mode onto field. So 3 of, so we're playing in 3, 2, 1. And I really like that ratio so far. Feels very good. Not too bricky at all. We can play either Lucemons off of Ultimate Sacrifice. So that feels really balanced. Yeah. I'm really liking the engine so far. Next, we got 3 mats. Memory fixers are just so good. Okay, anytime you can get a memory fixer, you definitely want to play at least 2, maybe 3 copies. With Cherubimon being able to play any tamer, no level or no play cost restriction, I did go ahead and bump the mat up from the 2 that we had in the previous build, so that feels really good. And then on play, return any purple Digimon or option to your hand. So add back, your removal here. You can add back some Ultimate Sacrifice if you want, or more Eismon to discard. I mean, the combinations are great. So many great cards you can add off of mat. Any kind of like trash recursion is always really good. And then finally, to round it out, our last 2 tamers here. First up, Kari. Purple Kari is incredible. 3 play costs, so perfectly fits into that play cost for Untitled to bring back. Great choice. And then all turns, when a card is removed from your security stack, you may suspend this tamer to gain 1 memory. This ends turns. Okay, so your opponents say they've got a memory fixer. They go 2 Evo into a hybrid, and then 1 Evo into the level 5, and then they swing. Now they're at 0 memory, so as soon as they hit that security check, Kari is going to pass that turn back to you. So really shuts down a whole lot of plays there. I really, really like Kari. Debated putting her at 4. Honestly, the only thing holding me back is the hybrid package here. Jaeger Loemon specifically mentions it has to digivolve on top of Koichi to get the retaliation. If it was on top of any tamer, I would almost argue dropping the Koichi almost altogether and just running 4 Karis. Like, it's that good. But we do need a decent amount of targets to discard for the Untitled to bring back. We'll keep it this way for now, but you could almost argue dropping it down to 2 and dropping Kari up to 4. And then we'll discuss a few others as well. So security, play this card without paying its memory cost, of course. On play, draw 1, trash 1, standard purple stuff here. Good for discarding a whole lot of our stuff. One of the plays that I kind of like, it doesn't really come up that often. It's kind of difficult to line the stars up perfectly. But your opponent swings into security, hits this guy. He goes on play. You activate his on play ability, discard a Nidhogmon while your opponent's at 0, passes turn back to you out of nowhere. Very, very spicy combo for sure. And then inheritable here, on deletion, gain 1 memory. And this is the thing that's like trying to save it for me, is the inheritable is really good. On deletion, gain 1 memory. That's pretty good compared to a lot of the other hybrid tamers. There are some other good ones out there, don't get me wrong. Like Tommy is busted. JP is also very good, but the other ones, like their inheritables are less impactful, I would say. But this Koichi inheritable is pretty high up there. And then go ahead and zoom out there for you. So the alternatives, the things I was thinking about changing out. One of them was, if you want to drop the Lucemon package, you could put in something like Lady Devimon. So that gives you more draws for consistency, as well as more discards. So more ways to discard Eismon, more ways to discard Nidhogmon, more ways to discard Tamers. So again, not just Untitled brings out stuff from or brings out Tamers from trash. Cherubimon does it also. Now, it is really nice if you can go Untitled bring out 1, Cherubimon bring out a 2nd. When you can get plays like that, it's really nice. But sometimes just one Cherubimon bringing out a single tamer is enough. So you could still run the Lady Devimons. Absolutely, totally fair. I would probably just run 2. Just to replace the Chaosmon here, because that'll give you 6 level 5s for basically your 4 megas here. I don't really count the Nidhogmon into our mega package like completely, because most of the time he's just there for discards. And then you could drop the ultimate sacrifices for something else. You could bump up the Schwartz here with those numbers, maybe your tamers or something like that. And then the other changes, or you could even bump up your Gazimon as well, like we were talking about, if you wanted to do that. If you wanted to drop the ultimate sacrifices as well, and the Lucy's and the chaos modes, like that frees up 6 spots in the deck for you to add more stuff to 2 Lady Devies and then 4 other things. I mean, it's a lot of room to work with if you drop the Lucemons. One of the best things about the Tamer package is it's a way to get Tamers into the trash, and we can keep recycling the Koichi. So we bring it out, we Digivolve, it dies, and then we bring it out again for free and Digivolve, and it dies, and we keep recycling the Koichi. That's like how they kind of, I guess, the idea of Koichi is to just keep evoing him and letting him die, then bringing him back, letting him die. Really sad if you've seen the anime. But like that's kind of the general thing. But part of me is just like, I don't even know if I need that. Honestly, I've got all this discard from the Eismon scatter mode and all these like other draws and discards that I'm not really like struggling to put Tamers into the trash. I can put Tamers into the trash on my own terms, without hybrids. So maybe there's like an alternative to go. You could put in, instead of the Koichi, the old Mimi here. 2 play cost, that's pretty cheap. You can just like put a couple of these into play just for when you go into Cherubimon, and then when Cherubimon dies, you get his on deletion effect. So therefore, you can get tons of free rookies because of all the different Mimis that you played. You may suspend this tamer to gain 1 memory. So look at all the options that we're playing here. If you keep the ultimate sacrifices and the Schwartz here and the glaive, that's a decent amount of options that we're running. So that Mimi could definitely see some good value. So if you wanted to drop the Koichis entirely for 3 Mimis and then drop the Jaeger here, you could. You could even just drop him and replace him with the generic 2 Evo cost hybrid. That way he can still be used for 2 Evo cost on top of a rookie if you need to, or pushing for game 2 Evo cost on top of any of your tamers to punch for game. If you saw the feature match, you saw how that it could have really changed things if they just having a single hybrid in hand, because you never know. And when you're playing this many tamers, there's definitely good value in playing a couple hybrids. So you could just change this guy to the generic, and with the generic, you don't have to play the Koichi anymore. So you can drop the Koichi for some Mimis if you wanted to, but still argument can be said for just running the Koichi for that draw one, discard one, and the on deletion inheritable. But either way, the deck feels really fun, really solid. Literally, the person that piloted it in our feature match wasn't really excited about Cherubimon or the hybrids or anything like that, and then played it and are like, wow, I really enjoyed that. That was a ton of fun. I'm actually going to buy those cards now when they come out and actually play this deck as like a decently serious deck now, because of how much fun this whole strategy is. Just BT7 in a nutshell, like, completely changes how the game is played, and it's just refreshing. I know they're very powerful, they're very busted in how powerful they are, but it's refreshing in the fact that it's just new strategies that we get to play.